Hello everyone, thank you for channeling in to view this presentation. Today you will be told a little bit about the mechanisms of pathogenicity, disease, and epidemiology. So why? Why are you taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch this presentation? Why is all of this seemingly useless information actually important? Joseph McClendon III once said, "Human beings can do amazing things when they know their reasons why." Imagine if a loved one got diagnosed with an illness you could have stopped earlier if you were more informed on the pathogenicity and epidemiology of it. In this short presentation, you will learn vital information to your and other people's health. That way, you too can be amazing. In this video, you will be informed of the signs and symptoms of diseases, the types of diseases, how pathogens cause disease, virulence factors, and epidemiology. The first hint that something is going on with your body is most likely something you can notice. Whether it is a fever, nausea, vomiting, or you just don't feel like your normal self, these are all things your body tries to warn you that something is wrong. These hints are more commonly called signs and symptoms. While they sound similar, they are a bit different. Signs are objective, and they're something that can be measured, for example, a fever, high blood pressure, or dehydration. Symptoms are subjective and need to be reported to a doctor by the patient because these cannot be measured. These include things like nausea, pain, dizziness, or confusion. While signs and symptoms are two different things, they are both used and heavily relied on by doctors to diagnose diseases. With that being said, it is important to pay attention to your body's signs and symptoms in order to catch diseases early so they can be treated. There are many types and categories of diseases, starting with whether or not they are non-infectious or infectious. Non-infectious diseases are usually due to genetics or the environment. They can be non-communicable, meaning that they may have been extracted from environmental reservoirs or animals. They could also be iatrogenic, which means they are a direct result from a procedure. Infectious diseases are usually due to pathogens, or in other words, bacteria, viruses, or microorganisms that can cause diseases. These can be communicable and contagious, meaning that they are easily transmissible between individuals. Some may be latent, meaning that even though they can replicate and spread, they may lay dormant for years without acting up. Nosocomial diseases can also fall under this category because they can be contracted from pathogens in hospital settings. There are also some diseases that could fall into either one of these categories, including acute and chronic diseases. So how do we know which microorganisms are pathogens and how they cause diseases? Cautious postulates are used to determine this. The postulates help determine if something is a pathogen and what the particular cause of the disease is. The postulates are shown here in order from left to right. Pathogens get exposure from entering the body at all points of entry. They leave the body through the points of exit. Types of pathogens include primary, which cause pathological changes in individuals, and opportunistic, which only cause disease when protective barriers are broken. There are also different stages of pathogenesis in order as follows: exposure, adhesion, invasion, infection, and transmission. There are also certain types of infections: local, focal, and systemic. All depend on where the pathogen is in the body. There are also secondary infections that only act up after another infection or antibiotic treatment. Virulence factors. Virulence. Virulence is defined as the degree to which a pathogen can cause disease. It is quantified by calculating the LD50 for a given population. A graph like this one is used to determine this quantity. Virulence factors are things that contribute to making the pathogen more likely to turn into a disease. These include endotoxins, exotoxins, and capsules, adhesions and exoenzymes, and antigenic variation in other pathogenic mechanisms. Endotoxins are in lipid A gram-negative cell envelopes. It is the toxic part that creates inflammation and fever. Exotoxins are proteins that mainly gram-positive cells secrete. A component in them is brought to the host cell. The toxin enters through endocytosis, and then another component separates them and gains access to the cytoplasm. Pathogens may also produce capsules to protest the host's immune response. Microorganisms like fungi, protozoa, and helminthic worms contain different types of virulence factors. Fungi use the interaction of adhesion, exoenzymes, and capsules. Protozoa use cytoplasmic substances and capsules. And helminthic worms use glycan molecules to disguise as a host cell to weaken the immune system. Epidemiology. Epidemiology is defined as the study of factors influencing occurrence, transmission, frequency, distribution, prevention, and control of disease in human populations. It is the science of public health. There are many different types of epidemiology. This includes descriptive, which uses analysis from patient history to track the outbreaks while they are still going on. Retrospective, which use history to point out the things that are the same from cases presented. Perspective, which gather data and follows the cases to find things in common with future cases. Analytical, which compares groups to uncover common factors and diseases. And experimental, which studies the cause by manipulating the subjects to compare them. However, to understand any epidemiology, we have to understand the language. There are many kinds of diseases that are studied. These include sporadic, which occur rarely and without a geographic focus. Endemics, which occur at a consistent level and are in a certain region. Epidemics, which occur when an outbreak occurs on a larger level and also occur suddenly. And pandemics, which are widespread epidemics that occur throughout a wide part of the region and are like epidemics, but they are broader. Now we're going to take the time to recap what we have learned. Signs and symptoms. While different, they both have the same effect on your body to alert something is wrong. They both should be heavily relied on by you and your doctor for your well-being. Non-infectious and infectious diseases. They can either be contracted from environmental reservoirs or animals, or due to pathogens. Some diseases fall strictly into one of these categories, while others could fall into either. Pathogens. They use cautious postulates to determine which microorganism is causing the infection and how. They enter the body through the points of entry, and when the infection is over, leave through points of exit. There are two types of pathogens, including primary and opportunistic, and there are 5 stages of pathogenesis: exposure, adhesions, invasion, infection, and transmission. Virulence and virulence factors. The degree of likelihood that something can cause a disease, and things that can contribute to cause the diseases. And finally, epidemiology. The 5 types of epidemiology and the language needed to understand the factors that influence the science of public health. Thank you for listening. All sources and pictures used in this presentation are cited here. Please have a great day.